Flashback to 2018. Imagine you're a young Chazz Surratt. Boom, your school just laces you with some fresh Air Jordan 3 retros. Now, with resale culture as it is, what's your first thought? I'm a college student. I could use some money. Let me flip these, right? Wrong. Chazz Surratt and 13 of his other teammates were then suspended for 4 games due to selling school merchandise. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the punishment, but I digress. This would basically ruin Chazz Surratt's 2018 season as he only appeared in 1 game after serving his suspension. In walks Mac Daddy Brown. After a long conversation, which Chazz Surratt even admitted that he was thinking of transferring to another school just to stay as a quarterback, he and Mac Brown were able to come to an agreement. Chazz Surratt would be changing his number from number 12 to 21, changing his position from quarterback to linebacker, and possibly changing his draft stock from just another mobile quarterback to a first-round selection. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. But without much further ado, let's get into it.
Everywhere, this is for you.
Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown, time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird game nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco, thanks for tuning in.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So a lot of people have been looking at some of these linebackers. Obviously, I've been in love with Micah Parsons because of Penn State, but I wanted to go over some of the other linebackers. So what I'm going to do is a meet the prospect type of series. So we're going to start with Chazz Surratt. I already have Jabril Cox's video ready. I just got to record it. So that will probably be the next one, but we're going to start with Chazz Surratt. All right, so be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. Let's have some fun, man. So 6'2", 228 pounds out of North Carolina, the former 4-star athlete Chazz Surratt. Now, his story is incredible. When he was in high school, he was a quarterback. He was a two-sport athlete, I should say. He was a 2-time captain for his football team and a 4-year starter for his varsity basketball team. Now, when he played football, he did play multiple positions, but his prized position, I should say, was quarterback. That is what he got recruited as. That is what he signed on to North Carolina as. Now, when he first got there, Mitch Trubisky was obviously the quarterback then, but he did get some time because now with the freshman, the redshirt rules, you can still play a little bit in your redshirt year, your freshman year, excuse me. So he did get some time in, and he actually led the team in passing yards with 1342, and he had 13 touchdowns as well, 13 total touchdowns. I believe it was 8 passing and 5 rushing. So he had a little bit of, a little bit of spark. And then, like I said in the beginning, you fast forward to 2018, he did have to face that suspension. It would change his whole career outlook. It would change his life, realistically. So he went from being a quarterback, fighting for a position in 2018. He lost that position, not really being able to show what he can do. Come into 2019, Mac Brown comes back to college football, former championship winning coach, wants to change the culture. He gets Sam Howell in there. Chazz Surratt sees there's really no future for him at quarterback. So like I said, they do have that conversation and basically changes Chazz Surratt's life. Now, Chazz Surratt first full year as a linebacker was in 2019. And to go over some of his stats, he had 115 total tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. He had a forced fumble, an interception, and 3 pass deflections, and was named first team All-ACC. That is his first year as a full-time linebacker. Very impressive. Very impressive. Now, if you go to 2020 season, he played 2 fewer games and darn near matched his stats. In 2020, he had 91 tackles, 6 sacks, a forced fumble again, and another interception, 3 more pass deflections, and I did not write it down, but I believe it was 7.5 tackles for loss that year. He was named an All-American, and then he opted out of the bowl game to go into the NFL draft. Now, circling back a little bit, as I said, he was a 4-star recruit. He was recruited as a quarterback, and it wasn't just North Carolina. When he was coming out, he was recruited originally by Clemson, Boston College, and West Virginia were 3 teams that he named, saying they had legit interest in what he could be at the quarterback position. And again, in 2019, when Mac Brown first came, if that conversation never happened, Chazz Surratt maybe never becomes a linebacker and maybe is never the guy we're looking at right now. Now, I want to go over some of his strengths and weaknesses. Now, some of the strengths that I like from him is that he plays with a sense of urgency. What do I mean by that? There's differences between playing fast, fast players and speedy guys, and someone who plays with an urgency. Someone who plays with an urgency, to me, is someone that gets to where he needs to go, not much hesitation. This can help, this can hurt you. You know what I'm saying? And it has hurt him as well. Sometimes you make the wrong read. But you want somebody that's going to read and react. You don't want somebody that's going to sit there and kind of look around and see what everybody else is doing, and he's very good at that. I really like that in Chazz Surratt. Now, this kind of mirrors that. This kind of goes with that. He's an elite athlete, and I'll package that with the other one, which is his sideline to sideline speed. He gets from side to side very quickly. Like I said, he reacts very quick. He doesn't hesitate, so that helps you, and he's able to reach that top speed very fast. His acceleration is from 0 to 60 in a second flat. So that is very, very impressive, very, very important. And they said he's supposed to, let me make sure. I think that they said he was going to be running around a 4.6, which is very impressive. Also saw that around the same number for Jabril Cox, just for, reference. So now again, and then he's a very, and this is again a strength, he's a very, very impressive edge rusher, especially for the lack of experience and lack of detail at the position. He doesn't have many electrifying moves, but he will beat you with speed. He will beat you around the block. Strength is something I'll talk about. Strength isn't one of his strengths right now, but he can definitely add some weight on him and definitely become a better run blocker or run stopper, I should say, and be able to beat some of these offensive linemen off of strength and not just speed. But so his strengths, I like his strengths. His weaknesses, he needs to work on his tackling angles. He needs to gain leverage on bigger receivers and backs. This can go for tight ends as well. Now, he's good at coverage. I will say that his speed helps him recover very easily, and he is just a good cover guy. He really is. I'll give him that. But he has the willingness to tackle, but he needs to be more consistent with his technique and just being in the right position. This is something that you learn over time. He's been a full-time linebacker for basically a year and 3/4, if you want to call 2020 a 3/4 season. So it's something that he'll learn. He's not perfect. He's got to be developed, obviously. Like I said earlier, he needs to add some strength. I'm talking maybe 5, 10, maybe 15 pounds of muscle to maintain that integrity when you're, filling in the run gaps and trying to maintain your run assignments and your gap assignments. He's going to get pushed around on the inside. That's just, it is what it is. He's not big enough. So I definitely want to see him add some strength to him. Still brand new to the position, needs time to develop. I think that's pretty self-explanatory right there. Run defense, like I said, is questionable. Needs to bulk up to truly maximize his IQ. What do I mean by that? He's smart. He knows where he needs to be. He just doesn't necessarily always have the strength to get there, if that makes sense. So if it's a run up the middle, he knows where he's supposed to be, but fighting off those guards, fighting off those centers, fighting off those bigger linemen might be a little bit of a challenge. Look, overall, if he's available in the 3rd round, I have him high on my board. There are some red flags. Obviously, the suspension was a red flag, and you don't want to see that, but I feel he learned. And like I said earlier, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the punishment that was handed out for it. So, it is what it is. Where do I see him right now? Honestly, early in his career, maybe a year or two, maybe quicker. I see him as a rotational pass rushing piece. I don't see him as a middle linebacker. I don't see him as an inside guy that can really be the quarterback of the defense just yet. I think that he has all the tools to become something great. I really do. And I honestly, I don't want to go too deep into the other videos, but I feel the same way about Jabril Cox, and I feel the same way about one other person. I feel right now Micah Parsons is the only linebacker that is a fully developed product, and even he obviously needs to work on things. But I love Chazz Surratt. I was about to say Sam Howell. I love Chazz Surratt. I love what he brings to the table. I love his versatility. So look, like I said, I think if he's there in the third round, depending on who else is there, I would not be mad at all if I saw him. He's one of the most well-rounded athletes in the entire draft, in my opinion. So would love to see, him make it to the Eagles. That would be awesome. What do you guys think? Where do you have Chazz Surratt ranked as a linebacker in your mock drafts? And if you guys like this, if you guys want me to keep continuing to do this, please leave comments. Let me know what linebackers or what position groups you want me to move to next. Like I said, I'll probably do 3 linebackers and then move on. So, yeah, appreciate you guys listening to me ramble for 10 minutes. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.
Eagles fans everywhere. This is for you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird game nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson